I'm very excited to be with you guys this morning. This is my first time presenting at the GIADA, and I'm very excited to share with you some insights about the wholesale market. I'm really going to be focusing on remarketing and wholesale and try to help you show what the world is looking like today, what is it going to look like tomorrow, but also try to introduce some ways to help you navigate through as the landscape is changing. So one of the greatest things of my job, and I really enjoy, is I get to spend a lot of time talking to dealers like you every single day. And I travel the whole nation going around and talking to dealers all about their business, what is going on in their world, what are some of the things they're doing, and what are some of the things that are giving them a hard time. And one of the most important things that they talk to me about every single day is how to buy the car. You buy the right car, you make the money. And it is important. So I ask them, how do you do that? How do you get the right car? And what are some of the tricks that you do? And every single one of them, and I'm sure you guys will do the same thing, they talk about, I've been in this industry for a long time. I know cars, I know metal. If I don't know metal, I have somebody that knows metal that helps me. I can look at a car, I can touch a car, I can tell you exactly what's going on with that car, which is amazing, right? I wish I had that ability to be that innate in a car. Or they say, it's gut instinct. I look at a car, I think it's the right thing. They really kind of sum it up to three main points. It's really what to buy, where to buy it, and how much to pay for it. Those are the three most important things about any car that you can buy at the wholesale market. And those are the things that will help you or help anybody make the right money. But one thing that I've also discovered is that since they're using their gut instinct or they're relying on somebody else to do this for them, it's really hard because they don't really truly, what I like to say, they don't have a game plan. Really, it's more than a game plan. It's really a business plan as far as how you're going to interact with your business and how you're going to really manage every single asset that you have on your lot. Because if you think about it, you have more money in those vehicles that are outside on your lot than you do in the bank probably. I hope not, but most probably are. So if your money is out there on that lot, you wouldn't want to manage that money smartly, and you want to make sure that that is really stabilized and actually spread across to make sure that you have a balanced portfolio. Hopefully everybody has a retirement plan. If you don't, or you try to invest, one of the most important things that we keep talking about when you do financial investments is to have a balanced portfolio. So if you do that for your future, for your retirement, why wouldn't you do that for your business today? Because really, if you look outside your lots, that is your portfolio. So is your portfolio balanced? Do you have the right mix of cars that are needed to make sure that you have the return on investment for all that money that you have on your lot? But we're going to get into that a little bit more. But before we get into that, I really want to go through and talk about what's going on in the world today, what's going on in the wholesale world, and how is that going to impact your business day to day. So the NAAA, the National Auto Auction Association, published their numbers for 2015, and they've said that there were 9.3 million vehicles sold in auctions in the United States in 2015. 9.3 million vehicles were sold. That is a 6% increase year over year. That is humongous. That's tons of cars that are going through the remarketing channel every single year. And then I think about how many cars you look at every single day out of those $9.3 million to figure out what cars you want to bring to your dealership. So everybody thinks that there's tons of cars in the market. Times are great. We're selling lots of cars. We're making tons of money. But in reality, the NADA published a study that said that in the past 5 years, there has been a 20% compression in margins. So I wanted to think back at your numbers. Think back about how much profit are you making on each car, and are you experiencing the same thing? 20% compression in margin. And this slide shows you these are the top publicly traded dealer groups in the United States, and you can see their profits for the past couple of years, and you can see definite decline in profits. And it's even more decline in the past 3 years. So they're feeling it as big as they are. Everybody's feeling it, and I'm sure some of you guys are feeling it as well. I mean, I remember back in the day, we used to make $2,500 gross on a car. Now you're lucky to make $1,200 to $1,000. And if you are, that's amazing, right? So you are feeling it. Everybody's feeling it. But the biggest thing that I want you guys to understand is that, great, we have a lot more cars coming in the market, 9.3 million vehicles. You would think you would be able to get those right cars. But what I'm trying to say is that it's even more important to really become focused about what cars you're getting. And then, No, this is one thing. So you're having a lot of cars coming through the market. You're making a lot less money. And the sad thing about it is cars are sitting on your lots a lot longer than they should be. The industry average, based on a study that Kelley Blue Book published, 68 days is average days on lots. 68 days for an average. And if you look to the top, of course, we know subcompacts. Nobody wants to buy a subcompact, right? Gas prices are down. We want those big guzzlers. We want those cars. So crossovers and trucks are the hottest sellers. And you can see those are like 40, 42 days. So they're turning very, very fast. So the mid-sized cars, the smaller cars, they're taking forever. So you're going out there and you're buying cars, you're trading for cars, you're investing in this portfolio that you have out there. But in reality, your return on investment is not coming as quickly and as fast as you would like it to be. So here's where it gets a little bit more difficult. This is through May 2016, this is a month-by-month lease penetration. So as you guys know, all franchise dealers are excited. They're making tons of money because everybody's leasing cars. And one of the biggest reasons there's a huge lease penetration going on is because new car prices are expensive. I don't know how many of you guys have looked at a new car price. There's about $50,000, $60,000 for a brand new car today. And I don't make that much money, so I really cannot afford a $60,000 car. So what are the people are doing? They're looking at payments. That's all they're focused on. So the consumers are looking how much am I paying out every single month to drive that nice piece of car that I want? So they're looking at leasing because that makes more sense for their pocketbooks. That makes more sense for their monthly payment. So they're leasing more. So lease penetration is going to continue to go up higher and higher, and it's going to see increasing. And to help that, sorry, one more thing. So new car production in 2015 was 17.5 million new cars produced in 2015. If you look at 2013, there's about 12.5 million cars. So this last year, they produced 17.5 million brand new cars, which is, again, phenomenal. Big supply. You got a lot more cars coming in. So what does that mean, right? Lease penetration is going up. Well, what I'm saying is that all those cars are going to come back into the market. 9.3 million cars sold in 2015. The prediction, that was about 2.5 million lease turnbacks. The franchise dealer is not going to be able to consume all those cars. They can't sell those cars. So what are they going to do with those cars? They're going to put them back into the remarketing world. They're going to wholesale them. They're going to bring them to their auction. They're going to try to figure out how to get rid of them because they cannot sell them all. So what this shows you is that of the prediction over the next 3 years, based on new car production from 2014, 2015, and 2016, is that you're going to get all those cars that we're leasing, and they're being leased today, they're going to come back into the world. So you guys are going to have dibs at those cars, which you've never had before. So you're going to have access to newer model cars, lower mileage, but here's the best part about it, is prices are going down. If you look at the study, I don't know if you guys read, there's an article published this week that said car pricing in the wholesale market have dropped 3.5% year over year. And their prediction is that car pricing in the wholesale world is going to drop 6% by the end of the year. So that shows you that car pricing is going down because you're going to have this excess of demand coming in from the lease turn-ins. And I have not touched anything about the rental fleets. All the rental fleets, if you go out there today, you guys are renting cars. I don't know if you rent cars, but I rent cars every time I'm out of town. And I'm getting these cool cars. I'm not getting the white car with cloth seats and manual windows anymore. I'm getting these nice cars that have tons of packages on them, a lot of trims, a lot of nice things in these cars. So the rental fleets are out there. They're not buying white cars anymore. They're getting all the cool colors. They're getting the nice variety of colors. But they're also turning their fleets. Every 2 years, you're getting a new car because these rental companies don't want older cars. So that's going to come into the market as well. So that's going to add more to these numbers. So it's going to be even more important that every single one in this room does have a game plan, does have a business plan for every single vehicle that they're purchasing in the wholesale world, because it's going to become more and more important that you actually invest your money in the right car, because that is where your money is, right? That's where you want to get your money back. That's where your investment is going to really come through, is from those vehicles that you have in the market. So what else do we know? We know that the world is changing. We know that technology is taking over, and every single one of somebody in this room has a smartphone in their pocket. And if you don't, then I'm sure somebody will sell you one as soon as you walk out this room. But what I'm trying to say is that everybody has technology right at their hips. Everybody has technology in their tablets. Everybody has technology. You guys are consuming data in a different manner. And what that means is that the world, the car world, is going to start producing or presenting that data in a different manner as well. Because they want to attract those customers, those consumers that are requiring to consume that data in a different manner. Nobody's buying newspapers anymore. Nobody's reading articles in the newspapers anymore. They're getting news feeds on their phones. They're getting alerts on their apps. They're getting something that tells them, hey, you got to go out there and take a look at this because it's really, really important. Not because I'm telling you it's important, because you've designed it to be important to you. You went in and preferences somehow and selected that I want to be alerted about something. And you're going to get that alert every single time it happens. So the same thing with the car industry. So what these captive lease companies are, what they're doing is saying, I can't afford to take my car to auction anymore. I don't want to spend those fees anymore. So what am I doing? I'm going to create a website. I'm going to create a new vertical that I can start remarketing these vehicles outside of the normal channels. So what does that mean for us? You got to go find it. So and this is really old, but in 2014, one captive finance company sold 58% of their fleet offline. And what I mean by offline is that it did not go to an auction. It did not run through a block. It did not get access. You guys have probably missed those selective cars. 58%, and that was 2014. And it's continuing to increase. And it's going to continue to go up, and their prediction is over the next 5 years, there's going to be 16% growth of new websites popping up every single day with cars being sold in the remarketing world. So what does that mean again? So it goes back to what I was talking about. You guys are going to hear about it a little bit later, I'm sure, about millennials and what do they want and how do you want. And half of this room is probably filled with millennials that are actually can relate to this. But what the question comes back to me is that there's a high demand and there's a huge need for curated content. What does that mean, curated content? What I'm saying is that it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about how you want to consume data and how do you want to be involved in data and how do you want to receive data. I personally don't go to CNN anymore. I don't go to Fox News anymore. I don't go to any of these news websites because I don't want to filter through all that junk that I don't care about. I want stuff that's relevant to me, to my world. And so what I do is I go select an app, I download it, and say go out there and look around all these websites for me and gather the information that's relevant to my needs and deliver it to me in a manner that I would design how to receive it. So that's what's happening every single day. So all these apps and all these things are going out there. They're trolling the websites. They're trolling the internet, capturing all this information, filtering it down, taking out all the junk that I don't care about, and sending me relevant data that makes sense to me and to my day. And that's how I choose to consume information. But that's the same things happening in the remarketing world. Is you can't just go to the Mannheim or the Odessa and log in and look at a run list to see what's going out there. Because you know what? That's an auction. Unfortunately, and some people might not like it, and I'm part of the company that has an auction company as well, but it's becoming a commodity. Auctions are becoming a commodity. What that means is that it's just becoming natural. It's a normal thing. So all the cars that are relevant that you need are probably not going to be at your next door auction. And it's becoming nationwide, if you haven't realized that yet or not. It's becoming a worldwide place. As these companies that have these vehicles, they don't want to invest in shipping the car to Atlanta to run it through the Atlanta auction, or go somewhere else to Alabama or Tennessee, somewhere in your area. They're listing those vehicles in an auction where it makes sense for them. And they're probably not even at the auction themselves. They're probably having somebody come out there, take pictures, do the CRs, do whatever they want, and list them on the website. So what does that mean for you? I don't know how you look for your cars, but if you're only looking within a 75, 100-mile radius, then you're missing out on the rest of the world because nobody's listing cars anymore locally. They're going nationwide because that's what makes sense for them, because they're not going to invest in shipping the cars down here and then have to ship it back if it doesn't sell. So it becomes more important for you every single day when you look for those right cars to expand your horizon and start looking out there. Because the greatest thing about car pricing and what I was talking about, the increase in supply, is pricing is going to go down a little bit. So what does that mean? That maybe the car up in Philly is going to be cheaper than the car in Georgia. Or the car up in the West Coast in Galveston or in Texas might be cheaper than the car that you have here today. But does it make sense? Well, maybe it does make sense, but that's when you have to have the business plan. That's when you have to start thinking about transportation cost. You have to start thinking about, if this car is not what I wanted, how do I get rid of it? I don't want to get stuck with a car that I bought from Texas. So what do I do with it? So those are some of the things that you start thinking about But that's going to become even more important to have that game plan, to have that business plan, so you can start looking at your portfolio, looking at your assets, looking at that hundreds of thousands of dollars that you have outside in your lot. And how is that working for you? And is it making the right time and right money for you? So everybody's been to an auction. If you haven't been to an auction, you should go to an auction. And you should sit there and listen to the noise and listen to the energy. It is the most phenomenal experience I've ever said. But also, because you've been to an auction, you've probably seen those guys with the big clipboards, and they have lists, and they're sitting up there, and they're outbidding you, and they're overpaying for these cars, and you're shaking your head like, what the heck are they doing? How can they afford to spend that much money on this car? But what I'm trying to tell you is that they have a business plan. They have a game plan because they know exactly what they're doing, and they're not sitting there having too much money, because they're managing their money much better than any of us, because they have 100 accounting department or somebody in the accounting department that's out there measuring every single penny that's being spent, and they're telling them how much money to go and get it. So you're sitting there competing with these big box folks, trying to compete with them and trying to play on the same playing field with them, but they have big machine guns that they're shooting 100 bullets a minute, and you're sitting here with an old school musket. You're putting the bullets in there, and you try to shove it in and try to, So how does that work? It doesn't work. So I've built it up. So that's what I'm here for. So what if I can sit up here and tell you that today you have the ability to compete on the same playing field with every single person out there, if not more? What if I told you that you have the ability to create that preference, to create that curated content, where every single day you come to your tablet, you come to your PC, you come to your phone, and you're getting relevant cars that make sense for your specific business, that tells you exactly how much to pay for it? And you know what? It tells you exactly how much profit you're going to make for that. That's even more. Who wants to know how much gross they're going to make in every single car? Every single day. 100%. So there is a way out there today that will be able to get rid of all that junk, get rid of all the subcompact cars that nobody wants to buy, because why would you want to buy it if nobody's buying it, right? Why would you want to have it on your lot that you don't want to? And it's only showing you relevant information, relevant cars that make sense for your specific business. Because my dealership and your dealership might be different. The customers that come to your lot versus my lot are different. So why would we stock the same exact car? Why would we spend $12,000 to $15,000 on a car that is going to sit there for 104 days on my lot? That doesn't make sense. So there is a way out there, and that's where StockWave comes into play. So StockWave is the new way to start sourcing wholesale inventory. This is one of the visionaries of Dale Pollock. I don't know if you guys know Dale. Dale has been around for a long, long time. He's a very, very smart man. And he had this vision a long time, about 4 years ago, to figure out how to create a level playing field for every single person, whether you're a big box guy or you're a person that just started yesterday. How can you start competing in this world and become effective and efficient as a dealer? So StockWave was really designed around solving three major problems in the wholesale industry. The first problem is it's really difficult to find the cars we want. As I mentioned earlier, the world is becoming bigger and there's more cars in the market. 9.3 million cars, you're going to have another 3 million, 4 million coming in the next couple of years. So it's going to become even more difficult to find the right car that makes sense for your portfolio. And really, when you find that car, if you do find that car, you can't afford it because somebody else is overpaying for it. Or you can't, if you don't know how much to pay for that car. So you're overpaying for that vehicle to bring it to your lot, and then you don't realize it's going to sit there for another 100, 160, 70, 80 days, however long it is. And if you do find it, you're taking so much time out of your day from being out there selling those cars, from out there making that profit, because you're looking for it. You're going through run lists every single day or every single week. You're running this run list from this auction, then this run list, and then you're going to go to check it on AutoCheck or Carfax or whatever way you try to look at the car. And then you're looking at the condition report and you're trying to look at pictures and you're trying to say, you know what, I'm going to take time out of my day to go up to the auction, to walk the lot and feel that car. So it's taking a lot of time, which you have to do today because that's how you've been doing it and that's what makes you feel comfortable. So it makes sense. But what we would like to think is that, which is really hard for a lot of people in this room to believe, to listen to this, and it's hard for me to deliver it. So please, no Rotten Tomatoes or anything. But sometimes I would like to say that sometimes I don't think you know what car to get. I say, I think you guys out there have been doing it for so long, and if you're new, you're fairly new, but you think you know what cars you get based on history, based on what you sold last week, based on what you sold last month, or based on what you sold 2 years ago. But I would like to venture to say that it's not relevant. It's not relevant. So it's really hard for us to sit in this room and admit that, you know what, sometimes I don't really know what car to get. Because you know what, I bet you every single person in this room has went to an auction, got excited about a car that said, oh, this is going to make me money, and I'm going to pay for it. And you probably overpaid for it, and you brought it back to your lot, and it's probably still sitting there. So, right? So I mean, it's hard to swallow, but it is true, and it is a fact. But that's what we're saying. Sometimes we don't even know what car we want. So how does StockWave help you do that? First thing to do, StockWave takes a look at your activity over the past couple of 30 days, 25 days. We're talking about relevant information. So it looks a little bit at your history and kind of looks across your portfolio that you have out there in your assets and takes a snapshot and takes a look at what you have out in your lot and basically tells you in the past 30 days or 45 days or however period you want to manage your business, it tells you what cars are selling and what cars you're not. And the best thing about it is that when you go to the auction, if you take a look at this, for example, a $25,000 vehicle that you've had on your lot, in the past 30 days, you've sold 2. So when you go to the auction and you're looking at that beautiful car that you know is going to make you that money, don't touch it because you already have 6 on your lot. And if history is going to repeat itself in the next 30 days, you're going to sell 2. So those 6, you're losing money on because nobody's going to want to buy. So don't go to the auction and buy another car. Don't go trade in for another car. Don't go say, you know what, I love these cars. SUVs are hot, I'm going to get more. You already have 6, so why would you do that? But if you look at the next category, in a pricing a little lower, that's where your money is. That's where you're selling. So that's what people are wanting from your business. So in the past 30 days, you've sold 9 and you only have 2. So those customers are coming to your lot looking for that specific car, and guess what? You don't have it. Because you went out there and bought that moneymaker that you're going to want, and it's not selling, it's not going anywhere. So this is what the first thing to do. So really to say, sometimes we don't know what cars we want. I think we got that solved, right? Because now we tell you exactly what cars you need, and those are the cars you need to go and focus on. But it's difficult to find the car. Well, that's the beautiful thing about StockWave. What it does, it's an aggregator of inventory. It's what I was talking about, the curated inventory. StockWave goes out there and pulls in inventory from all the websites that are out there. I wouldn't say every single one of them because that's just impossible, but we're getting all the relevant information. We have over 300,000 cars for sale in the StockWave every single day. So we have data feeds coming in from Mannheim, coming in from Odessa, coming in from Smart Auction, coming in from the small independent auction that you have in your backyard that you probably are used to going in there, and a lot more. So we have over, I think, 120 auctions or 120 sources are coming in every single day, feeding inventory, telling us what's for sale today in the market and what's going to be for sale tomorrow and the next day and the next day, however far you want to go. That's a beautiful thing. And even better, it puts it in a level playing field, in a format that is consistent, that is something you can see, something you're used to, and it has all the relevant data points that you need to make that decision on it. It's going to pull in the auto check. It's going to pull in the Carfax. It's going to pull in the condition report. It's going to pull in the pictures. So you don't have to go to multiple different websites to find that data point to make a decision on that one car. You already have it all in one place, and it's already there for you to be able to walk through it and to be able to navigate through. And if you don't want to see it, you don't even have to see it because you go in there and you set filters basically to say, you know what, who sold a Lamborghini? Nobody. So why would you want to look at Lamborghinis through your run list? Why would you want to even see that, right? So you eliminate that. All those crazy cars that you're probably never going to sell, you don't even have to see. So you're not wasting those time and wasting the days trying to filter through all this cars that doesn't make sense for you. Because that's the beautiful thing about this. It just filters it all out. So we can say it's difficult to find the car we want. Well, I think we can solve that as well in this tool because you specify exactly what cars you want and what cars you want to see. And the greatest thing about it is it doesn't even just come in your desktop, it comes in your mobile phone. So if you are walking around an auction, because we all love auctions, and you see a car that you think is that car that usually makes you that money, you think that car makes sense, you just run up there and you scan it. And it's automatically going to tell you exactly whether you want this car or this is a dream car that you would like to have one day. Just move on and don't waste your money on it because you're not going to sell it. This is the key, and this is the most important piece of this whole thing. It's really telling me at the price that you want to pay. So what StockWave does, it puts together a business plan for you for every single vehicle that pops into your feed. It tells you exactly how much to pay for that car based on data that makes sense for your vehicle. So the first thing we do is ask you what your retail strategy is. Because before you buy anything, the most important thing is how much am I going to sell it for? How much money is it going to cost me to get rid of this car? And then we back into how much you should buy that car so you make sure that you achieve that profit objective that you've designed, right? And we take into account how much money is it going to cost you to transport the car from wherever it is? How much money are you going to spend on reconditioning the car? How much money are you going to add insurance on this vehicle? Because I never looked at the data this way before. I looked at how much money I'm going to pay for the car, and then I take it back to my lot, and then try to figure out how much money I'm going to spend on it. But this is forcing you, and it's making you disciplined in looking at it beforehand. Because if you're buying a two condition report car, it's going to cost you how much money? $1,000 to reconditioning it? So you want to know how much to pay for that car so you can compete with the big box guy that has these spreadsheets that know exactly how much it's going to cost them to recon that car. But you guys have never looked at it that way. So this is going to help you right on the spot to take a look at those important things. How much money are you spending for auction fees to get that car? So it all goes back and tells you exactly how much money you projected to make on that vehicle if you are disciplined enough to truly spend the money that you said you were going to spend on it. As well as don't get excited and don't get run up by your buddy that's over there, trying to egging you on. Come on, let's go bid on this car. Let's overbid this car, and you go over it. So it keeps you disciplined on that perspective. So really, to say that we don't know the prices that we want to spend, I think this tool will help you understand exactly how much money you're spending on every single car and how much money you should be spending on that car. And then you say, the process is time consuming. I spend 40 hours, I've talked to dealers, and no kidding, they spend on average 40 hours a week researching for vehicles that they're going to buy at the auction next day. 40 hours a week. I don't know about you, but last time I did my math, and so there's only 40 hours a week. So on top of researching and looking for these vehicles, these guys are out there selling cars, making money, hopefully spending time with their families, and coming up there and researching. So they're having 80, 90-hour weeks. And I see some giggling over here, and she's shaking her head because she wouldn't want to spend more time with you. So I'm sorry, buddy. Here. So all we're saying for that is just turn it on. It's that simple. It is that simple. All you have to do is plug it in, set up a couple of preferences for you, and everything starts coming tomorrow morning. It is that simple. And it's really, our own objective is really to make you happy. Because at the end of the day, if you are happy and you are making that profit objective and you are making that money on that car, we are happy as well. Because without you, we wouldn't be here today. And without you, I wouldn't have fun going out there and talking to you every single day and learning how to become a better person, how to become a better businessman, and how to become a better dealer. So it makes sense for all of us to be together into this world and in this environment to say, what does it take to make us all successful in this future as the landscape is changing and as the world is going to happen? And really, it's just turning it on. So thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate it. I think I might have a couple minutes for the next person, so You're welcome. Thank you.